to another scene set in Chronicles of Darkness Vampire the Requiem for London. Tonight we set our scene, surprisingly enough, in Camden Town, in the heart of the borough of the same name. Ever since Violet got into contact with the ruling authorities on your behalf, you have been given a location, an address, and a time that has taken all of you to, of all places, a charity shop. Boring, drab charity shop. That is currently open. Due to an extended charity drive. It is here that when you enter, you see all the racks and lines of coats and clothes and board games and books that are years old. You also see the familiar face of a member of the Sanctified. Tending to the needs of the store. There we go. When she sees you, she'll walk up to you and will say, they're both in the back office, I'll be right with you.
Thank you.
Give a nod. Thank you.
While they walk, Matthias is gonna whisper to Ben, like, so, last chance, is there something we don't say? Or we're just gonna lay it out all of it?
Feel like it benefits the movement if we're forthright here.
Yeah, just wanted to make sure we're in agreement.
We agree. Yeah.
It's just, like, if there are any things, we should probably have them hashed out by now.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So, any of these people, are you all cool with these people, or is there something we should be, what shall we call it, on alert for?
I guess either Primogen Folks or Bagman, but Bagman's going to be wherever he wants, regardless of how we feel. And if Primogen Folks is there, I don't think there's much we could do to remove Primogen, to dislodge Folks.
I was more thinking like annoyances that might make someone lose their temper. But we
Oh,
got this. We got this. Like
not let's not piss off Stanforth. Yes, that is. Should probably refer to him as King.
it's more like that. It's just okay. Yeah. Anything else before we do this?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So, do you want me to present it how I found it, or do you want to be the one who lays down what we found?
Actually, Chris, this is an important question because the way the Blue Book was presented doesn't really say. The information given was just the collection of everything that Ben and Natalia found, right? Or was it just Natalia? Just as a quick clarification.
What do you mean?
The Blue Book just says, here's the information that you found. But I know that Ben was looking, basically getting pictures of files while Natalia was downloading information. You know what I mean?
Most of the information found came from Natalia. Not all of it,
Okay.
but most of it.
Okay. If you wish to give Stanforth the rundown, since you found the information, be my guest.
Thanks. Who's going to get pissed off at me now? She kind of smiles, gives you a wink.
Oh, good,
All right,
fantastic.
it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's going to be fine. It's going to be no problem. Yeah, this is going to end really bad. Okay. So,
Unless you would rather me speak to Stanforth.
no, I'm good.
I mean, it's fine if you want to. I have decent public speaking skills.
Don't, but it's fine.
All right.
And they will answer.
Okay. You'll make your way past the occasional customer, heading into a back office with a small desk, a computer that looks a decade out of date. A plain beige set of walls and three people sitting at the end of the desk. Or rather, one person sitting behind the desk, someone standing beside them, and your person who notified you sitting in one of the chairs in front of the desk. You see these three individuals. You see the person that invited you in. You see the king. And perhaps someone you didn't expect to see. She is not wearing the dress in her face color. In fact, she's dressed quite radically differently. She's just wearing fairly typical streetwear.
It's Lady Jessica.
If you like, you can roll politics to find out.
God damn it.
I also roll politics. Ben knows.
I mean, I would recognize her if it was the lady I rescued, but now since I'm rolling politics, it's not that person. Intelligence or wits? Politics.
Intelligence, politics, and memory, I think.
Alrighty.
And would I roll the same thing to identify the lady?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got no clue.
But Ben also has no clue. We're Carthians.
Yeah,
We don't care.
Yeah, you both think you've seen this individual before, but you can't place where from. Um,
Yeah,
she's
Natalia will
wearing
just.
she's wearing black jeans and a white turtleneck.
Or any. Is it like just a like they're sitting in a couple of chairs and there's a table, or they're like.
Yeah, there's a couple of chairs for you. It's not a very big office. It's the back office of some charity shop between a
Yeah, it's
whole
like
bunch of chain stores.
a rec room where people eat their lunch or something.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay.
It
All
looks, you know, pretty. It's, I mean, it's barely worthy of your presence, let alone all of the kindred sitting and standing in front of you.
Quite worthy of Natalia's presence. She's been in worse places. A lot worse. Um, yeah, she comes in, nods, and sit down. She just, King, Stanford. Thank you for seeing us.
Yes. Thank you for seeing us, King Stanford. Ben will bow and take a seat.
I have been told by a number of sources, not one of which was the sheriff that contacted you in the first place, that you have much to share.
Yeah. So Natalia just gets like she's uncomfortable, but she gets up or just kind of shakes her shoulders a little bit, and then she begins to just for a moment she just says, "Okay, so I was told, well, asked if I could help out to look into some people who were following one of the sanctified from a church, which was fine. I did a little digging and I found a lot of redacted documents in a local police station, which honestly was a little bit disconcerting. So, myself, Ellicott, and, well, here, the three of us were, well, before that, me and Ellicott were involved in awakening someone that was being, well, not questioned, but was being attacked by humans, it seems. They were pretty interested in a place that should have been unknown to them. Regardless, the three of us went to effectively Scotland Yard to get access to their files. And we did. But one thing led to another. We got out of there just in time as they were locking down the place because they found out something was going on. So, the commissioner is making a quite a large push against drug gangs, drug violence. It is codenamed Violet, I think, and it is connected to us. It is they're suspecting influences. They're investigating influences into financial corruption, you know, and they have made a lot of arrests already. Certain people are already targeted as points of interest. Ansel Draper, Lionel Montug, Meadow Thatcher, Valdemar Forks. Those four are just generally in the police's attention. And they are closing in on him. So, that's a significant problem, and they're trying to fight our influences wherever they are in the city. So, that is just the police. And then we have the ECTC, um, special to extra normal entities. She runs around her paper. Extraordinary counterterrorism unit or something like that. Or whatever. It's a fancy name. They are tasked with finding extraordinarily dangerous threats to national security or local security or I don't know, something like that. And they have quite a lot of people they have identified, and she gives a list. They have killed maybe half a dozen, and there is something referred to in the files as the firm, which is some sort of interrogation place. I I'm not able to get too much from the details. And well, um, she kind of says for a moment, they are also on to you, and she looks at Stanford.
They are aware of both you and the Queen, at least generally. They're still working out the specifics. They are prioritizing you in terms of figuring out who, as they find you to be the bigger threat.
Well, sir, apparently it's harder for them to find things about Morgaine, but that is what it is. They're using the entirety of the London massive surveillance apparatus to do this. London Underground seems to be where a lot of the, what should we say, reports, she does air quotes, reports are coming from. Um they are close to pretty much doing things that, yeah, it's gonna, yeah, yeah. It's a shit show. I can give you like the down low on all of it, but it's really fucking horrendously bad. And she just looks at Ben, and yeah, I can give you the details of it, but yeah, that's about it. And she will have like a summary as printed out, not on a file, but printed out as paper, and she will pass them on, one to each. She'll probably have two copies, so she'll have one to Stanford and one for the woman with the the sanctified woman. As he just looks to the third one, just I only expected to be two people here, so I only made 2 copies. I I could get you a third copy. She kind of looks at the woman.
I'll handle it, the sheriff says. Are these physical files you handle?
Yes, it's it's not a copy. It's like summaries of the most of the bullet points.
Seems like the next move is to target city council influence. They haven't immediately jumped in yet because they aren't sure how much kindred influence is left. At least from what we could tell. Also, their most recent attack was the Revenants. The little Revenant colony. No, colony. Camp? Camp is better. Little Revenant camp down in the metro, the underground.
My child informed me. There are some that have survived. Not many. Not present when the attack took place. That is what I've been told. From what my child is aware, there are perhaps no more than around 4 revenants left in the domain.
Ah.
The borough is effectively defunct. The arrangement we had with the revenants effectively void. There is only one party left amongst the two that were. Make me a quick wits empathy check if you like, as he sifts through the file.
Okay. You said what's empathy, but I missed the part after it.
He sips for the file. I think was the. It's a gauge of what he's feeling. I'm guessing for when he goes to the file. I got 1 success.
My specialty in motivation supply. Yes, no,
Yes.
maybe.
Actually, what is your specialties?
Motivation. That's it.
No.
Okay. No, that's fine. Got a success.
Okay. He seems remarkably calm looking for all of this information. It's noteworthy just because it's in very stark contrast to the reaction that pretty much everybody else, or everybody among you had.
Yeah.
He seems to just sit through it. The sheriff does as well. she seems to have a reaction that is quieter, but much more similar to yours. You just hear the sheriff go, "Oh, we are fucked."
In
Notice, oh, sorry, that.
in so many words. Yeah.
The unnamed, or the kindred that you cannot remember, um, stares poignantly in the sheriff's direction.
It is not looking good.
Less vulgarity in the king's presence, please. If you were reading what I was reading, you'd be pretty vulgar as well, I think. Jesus, they tagged so many of us. I don't see myself on here though. Oh, they've already tagged one of the sheriffs.
Yeah.
And a primogen?
Yeah. In the brief bit of time that I have had in between the meeting, I have been able to get with Baron with this information, as well as the rest of the Carthian Council. So at the very least, we are at least the information is being passed along, as this is particularly important.
I don't understand how they acquired this information. The way they speak of our society, it's as if they've been paying visits to our own Elysiums, if they know too many of our relationships in too much detail.
It's quite like there were surveillance like fairly well hidden bugs in some of their offices to like record if someone was going into the maybe register who was going in and out, who should and shouldn't be there. Who, who knows what kind of like high tech surveillance shit they have and where it is. I mean, obviously, I can't have access to Elysium and shit, but like, yeah, like it wouldn't surprise me. But I'm guessing it's also possible that someone is talking to them. But why would anyone talk with them? Like, I guess from the interrogations, they wouldn't have any choice to talk. I mean, if they already captured some, they would know like a lot of stuff. If they found back some of the right people, like, I mean,
Hmm. My lady, you have experience with hunters. What's your take on all this? Lady of the turtleneck will quickly flick through the files. These are certainly not cellular groups. The telltale signs of haven-to-haven warfare are not present, suggesting a larger goal. Given these files, they already have the information to make much larger scale strikes upon our person. I would expect an attack upon a major gathering within the next few weeks. Groups of this scale tend to pick their battles more carefully than their younger and more decentralized companions. As these files state, they appear to have been whittling away specifically at Invictus' influence within the domain, while targeting more isolated, vulnerable groups, such as the Carthians. Taking out the chaff while they prepare to strike it more dangerous and influential targets. It is an intelligent strategy. Getting their men and women experience in the field, while simultaneously performing the wet work in order to make use of said experience. I'm unfamiliar with modern technology, but I am familiar with unconventional methods that these hunters use. They also appear to be using this as an opportunity to test these unconventional methods. It appears these groups do not use or are unfamiliar with the mysticism available to our kind, explained why Queen Morgan has gone unnoticed, whereas they are focusing on you. Their priorities appear to be domain-wide safety as opposed to personal gain. This firm, however, appears to have an interest in accruing knowledge of our kind. They appear to be doing the bulk of the interrogation. I'm uncertain as to whether this ECTC is merely being manipulated by this firm, but it appears this organization is aware that the firm may be doing so. Given their methods, it is likely it appears to mirror our own.
So, I mean, we've brought this to your attention. I mean, what we wouldn't. I'm not going to like decide anything, of course, but wouldn't a relatively sensible move be to either like stifle their activity or maybe have this the firm thing maybe uh, not be around?
Our main priorities for the moment should not be giving away that we are aware of what they're doing. Stifling their influence would have been viable had we committed to such an act years ago. But such conflicts are very indirect and long and attritional. What we need to do is defend what we already possess. Vacate assets that have already been compromised. Disappear so that we have an opportunity to rebuild.
Well, there is another thing though. Quite sure there is no small, actually quite a large bit of tension between these two things, like the police and the super police, or whatever you want to call it.
Coming!
And I'm not saying this is going to be easy, but there might also be an in of like these are essentially like government funded, meaning they have certain things that they have to be accountable to. And if something becomes too much of a like liability press wise, um, they're going to be fucked. There are ways to spin that. There are ways to attack that, especially if it's seen like one government institution or whatever is in clinch with another government institution, and clearly someone is fucking up from like the public side, and there could be a way of, well, at least hindering them without giving anything away. Just saying.
I believe you misunderstand what you have discovered. These are effectively a conspiracy within these organizations. They're basically no different from a Black Ops group. Unless their activities are unveiled, they effectively hold accountability to no one. But that would be a very dangerous avenue to go down. They hold a great deal of information on us. Spreading that information to the police at large, the government, would effectively destroy the masquerade, which is something I'm not willing to do. Yeah, I gotta go 10 minutes, I'll be right back.
say we should have some intermission music, but
Yeah, I'm not gonna be singing. Just
yeah, start singing, Pete. Do it. Do it.
I used to do that sometimes, but nope.
I was gonna say that we don't have a music pod anymore.
I mean, it happens.
Yeah. God. Why is my computer like this? There we go. Fuck. The brand returns.
I apologize for that delay. But yes, my apologies for that. But yes, the King was just basically stating that, well, they're a Black Ops group, basically. You know, they're a conspiracy within the official organization, so getting rid of them would be, or rather exposing them would be, dangerous to the masquerade.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's fine. So we just cut all ties and like that's been exposed or in danger of exposing, and then we go into like bunkers and stuff. Like it could work, kind of.
So the truth is that we need them to expose their own connections before kindred such as myself can begin going after them. I see a few names on here already. There will be avenues through which we can begin our own purge. This will not stop them coming after us, however. It will not stop them arming their soldiers. It can forestall the hunt, it will not end it. That will come at the end of a sword. He'll look to the sheriff and the woman by his side. And that is the endeavor that I shall lead. The 4 sheriffs are effective. But the inherent nature of how they are structured renders them decentralized and ineffective. They need a unifying commander. And with you, my king, organizing a political resistance, you will not be in a position to do so. The silence lingers for a moment as they consider who would take command of such a situation, given that the king would be preoccupied elsewhere. You can always hear the name Morgan rolling off people's tongue. There is some measure of thought that each individual appears to give to this notion. May I offer my services in this matter? My king, I believe the Queen may be best suited towards assisting us in the matters of the occult, as is her covenant's specialty. As I have already stated, these hunters appear to regard us with. They place us under their strict scientific laws. They seem to have little understanding of our true nature. They know us to be vampires with vampire-like abilities. They do not seem to grasp the essence of what that means. There is a few seconds of silence. With your permission, my king, I'd like to organize a counterforce to strike back against this hunter organization and this business ally they appear to have. If we could discern what this ally is, they are already suspicious of them, driving a rift between them would substantially reduce the capabilities of both. She looks at Benjamin and Talia, as if for the first time seeking your input.
It's in line with maybe not exactly what I said before, but like divide and conquer. That was kind of my thinking was the best move. So I think that's a pretty good way to go.
I think that working to divide them is a good idea. We still need to figure out who the firm is, which is kind of obvious. But
Yeah, I mean, there's also the massive problem of the extremes we're going to have to going through to from now on to be undetected because they're using surveillance system and it's pretty much everywhere in London. So yeah, but it's going to take us like it's going to be hard. We're going to have to find some way of getting like a beat on somewhere where we can find some sort of connection, direct connection to this what who or whatever it is backing them. And I don't think, well, I don't yet know of any way we could make that connection. Nothing in the files really gave us any indication. So, yeah.
I guess I do have a question. Obviously, it kind of goes without saying what you wish to handle. He'll gesture to the red-haired lady, and what King stand for would be doing. No, I'm no specialist in the occult. What would that operation look like? I'm not trying to say it doesn't have value. I just don't understand what that particular force would be doing in this within everything, you know.
That doesn't surprise me. What this counterforce would spend much of their time doing would be a combination of wet work and targeted strikes against the organization's most vulnerable assets, often under the cover of some masquerade reinforcing activity. Anything from a police operation to a riot to a festival. It is a common strategy used by both kindred and hunters alike. It is why they cannot reveal us and we cannot reveal them.
Once you're in the game, you got to play the game. Yeah, I got it. I got it. Okay.
The game started well before you were embraced.
Oh, I know.
These groups appear more recent than the ones I have fought in the past. They are modern, and they're integrated with government institutions. The ones I fought were religious in nature. I see no sign of their presence here. But they were old in my time and have all the reason in the world to believe they still exist.
So they're perhaps the mysterious backers through some back channels or charading things?
Potentially, but what these files indicate is a different institution altogether. The manner in which they have approached this ECTC and the abilities they seem to have displayed to them suggest a separate, though no less informed organization, likely one of significant age. Likely a private one. I believe, however, given what they have been funneling to the ECTC, that they are likely quite old. But they seem content to rest behind the shield of their allies, so they are less of a concern for us at the moment. I do not believe we'll be reaching them until we have significantly reduced the influence and power of this counter-terrorist group. They seem to speak in code and have clearly gone out of their way to mask the identities of both themselves and this firm. It is likely that only those in command are aware of their true identity. Tactics that we should have adopted months, if not years ago. And I would recommend, my king, that we do so now. This new technology, it is clear it has made us vulnerable. We must begin segregating ourselves from it. For our own safety.
Well, I mean, unless you know what you're doing, right? Then
It has little to do with knowledge. This technology is being used by the hunters to hunt us. Engaging with it imperils all of us.
Talia looks as though she's about to say something, but she doesn't say anything.
I would also recommend, my king, that use of public transportation be forbidden. As stated in these files, it is clear that surveillance is being used from public transport to monitor the movement and locations of kindred across the domain. The sloppiness of one neonate can imperil even a cautious and professional ancilla or elder. It would not surprise me if that is how they know of you at all. The king actually nods. I am inclined to agree. Perhaps if the situation had not reached such a critical juncture, this could be avoided. However, even I continue to witness kindred discussing matters of the blood online and on their phones. There's no doubt in my mind that this has led to the endangerment of our kind here in some capacity or another. It is inevitable. With the rise of mass surveillance, particularly within London, it would be disingenuous to imply otherwise in any capacity. That will need to change. And I believe perhaps I have been too charitable to kindred, that have been too indulgent with my charities. As for the organization of this, resistance that you seek to create, I would permit its formation. And I'd entrust the physical defense of the domain to yourself. I expect you to coordinate with me and the Queen in relation to any matters, both occult or political. You will need our assistance if you wish to defend this domain. I do not believe that you believe otherwise. Of course, and thank you, my king. Benjamin, Italia.
I'd like
Yes.
you for us to leave. Is that the...
No. I was just going to remark upon the irony that it was first the state that was most heavily targeted by these hunters, yet it appears that it was the Carthians that discovered them first.
You are welcome.
Yeah. There was an issue that came up to me. I was talking to Hugh Chow, and he mentioned how he was attacked. He thought it was odd. I looked into it.
These laws do indicate that it is your movement taking the most losses.
Yeah. I'm honestly thinking about it, not too terribly surprised. It was also an issue that the council brought up, so I have a vested interest in seeing this matter handled.
I believe Trescott's proposed integration cannot come soon enough.
Mm-hmm.
Apt timing.
It does happen to be her specialty.
I would recommend you to Lady Eliza's resistance force. Innate or otherwise, you have clearly shown enough capability to make it to this point. More than most of the kindred of this domain can say for themselves.
Thank you. Thank you.
And of course, I am inclined to reward you for your efforts on behalf of the domain. So tell me, what is it that you seek from me?
Weird. Here we go. Personally, from me, with the Carthians' reintegration, I would like to still see a Carthian at least be the Baron of our territory. Perhaps just you being inclined to at least stay on that side would be what I want. I've phrased that terribly. Why did I say that out loud? God.
The king looks at you with a semi-interested gaze until your final statements, where he seems to become vaguely annoyed and lose interest.
Fair.
And you, Natalia, what is it that you would desire?
Something that you probably would not. I would like. I don't know. Had to think about it.
I doubt you're going to have the opportunity to see me again for a good deal of time. I would suggest you make a decision now.
Okay, fair enough. Um, I don't suppose you. I don't suppose the seneschal is it's clear that Natalia's is about to say something, but did she just um some liquid resources, some the ability to move and to well isolate and shield myself from this as much as possible would be very appreciated.
I'll nudge Natalia. Give him the ribs. Like, hit her in the ribs. In this sort of like, what were you originally going to say sort of thing.
I can acquire some new identification for you. And your partner, if you desire that.
Yeah, think that would be very helpful. Yes.
Do you have other names that I can go under?
It shall be done. I thank you for your service to the domain and the First Estate. Given the nature of our threat, I believe it would be in your interest to part.
Yeah.
I must now play my part in the defense of the domain, as must the Sheriff and Lady Eliza.
Well, I wish you all very uh, luck and all that.
He'll give Stanford a nod. I'm sure that we'll be in contact, Lady Eliza.
My colleague will put us in touch.
Fair enough.
Good evening to you both.
Yep. Good evening. As they get out, as they get a little bit away.
Oh, wait, before we leave, does Stanford seem to give the impression that he's willing to go through with Ben's request?
That you wanted a Baron to run the West End?
Well, that with the reintegration that the Carthians would effectively have a Baron.
Yeah, that would be a
So-
Carthian Baron that runs the Carthian
Yeah.
territories.
Yeah.
Yeah, he seems to accept that as appropriate restitution.
Okay, cool. Cool. Just wanted to see if I need to make a roll or something that.
Nah, no roll necessary.
Okay, cool.
As they get a little bit away, Matthias says, in case you're wondering, and she whispers, in case you're wondering, I was half tempted for a moment to say that I wanted the seneschal delivered to me, but given the situation, they're not going to do that, so yeah.
Fair.
Don't worry, I'll get that bitch one day.
One day, just not today.
One can only hope that she's going to get fucked by the guys with the fucking the hunter assholes. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. There's this is just weird look of like reminiscing across Ben's face as the two of them walk out.
You smiling at
Hmm? Am I smiling at?
that look on your face? That wants kind of want
Mm.
makes me want to smack you. What is that?
Well, I'm thinking, right. Just never thought I'd be in a room with Stanport again. That's all.
Kind of shrugs. Why? It happens. Like,
Well, that's a long story.
okay. Ty just seems to kind of like shrug. It doesn't think too much about it. All right, so I'm going to go somewhere and hide, I guess. Um, if you, I know what they said about like emails and shit, but she will give you like an fairly nondescript email. So like, if you need to get in contact with me for the next amount of time, send it to this address, okay? I'll
I
get
got
back
you.
to you.
Okay.
And by the way,
Yeah.
don't use your phone to send this email. Yeah, like my suggestion, go to a public place with a public access computer and make a new email and send it from there.
Okay. Yeah, it's something
You
nondescript. I
you'll
got
be
it.
able to find like a few places. You'll be able to find a public library that's open and that's not have. Some of them will not have direct like monitoring of the computer, just someone using it that I can't possibly identify you positively. That would be my suggestion.
I got you. I got you. I got you.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Take care of yourself.
I will.
And with that,
Yes, you do.
I think we can end the scene there. Thank you, players playing. Thank you, watchers watching. We'll see you all next time. Bye bye.